Somewhere between growing up and trying to be everything for everyone, you forgot yourself, didn't you? You didn't notice it happening at first. It was slow, quiet, almost invisible. It began the day you started saying, "I'm fine." When you weren't, the day you silenced the voice in your heart that once told you what you loved, who you were, and what made you feel alive. It began when the world started demanding more from you than you had to give. When you learned that being strong was safer than being soft, that being busy looked more successful than being peaceful, that making everyone else happy was easier than facing your own emptiness. You wake up tired, even after sleeping, because your mind doesn't rest. It races through the expectations, the deadlines, the silent fears. You smile at people, but your heart feels heavy, because behind every smile is a woman who's forgotten how to just be. You look in the mirror and see the version of yourself the world trained you to become: polished, composed, capable. Yet somewhere behind your eyes is that old spark, dimmed but still burning, waiting for permission to glow again. And sometimes when the noise quiets, you wonder when you last felt alive. Do you remember her? The girl who laughed too loud, who didn't apologize for taking up space, who dreamed without fear, who believed the world was hers to paint in any color she desired. The girl who danced under the rain, who believed in magic, who found joy in small things like morning light through curtains or a song that made her heart race. She's still here. She never left. She's just buried under layers of responsibilities, expectations, obligations, and quiet sadness that you've learned to hide so well that even you stopped seeing it. You became the woman who always holds it together, who always smiles in photos, who always says yes, even when her soul is screaming, "Please, no more." You've mastered the art of pretending everything's fine. You wear confidence like armor, but deep down. You miss the days when happiness didn't need a reason, when you could just exist without justifying it to anyone. They tell you to stay strong, but strength doesn't mean silence. Strength isn't about never breaking. It's about breaking open and still finding the courage to love yourself through it. Peace doesn't come from perfection. It comes from permission. The permission to be messy, to be uncertain, to be beautifully unfinished. You don't have to keep breaking yourself to prove you're enough. You don't have to wear exhaustion like a trophy or pain like a badge of honor. You've spent so long being the strong one that you forgot it's okay to fall apart too. It's okay to say, "I'm not okay," without feeling like you're failing. It's okay to take a step back, to breathe, to rest, to rebuild. Crying doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Tears are proof that you've been trying too hard for too long, that your heart still cares, that your soul is still alive beneath the weight of everything you carry. There was a time you created instead of competed, a time when you dreamed instead of doubted, when you felt instead of faked. There was a time you wrote, painted, sang, laughed, prayed, not because someone asked you to, but because it was who you were. And that version of you is still waiting, not to be found, but to be remembered. She's not lost. She's just waiting for you to turn around, to stop running, to meet her again. Sometimes healing doesn't happen when you fight harder. It happens when you stop running from yourself. When you sit quietly and let silence speak louder than validation. When you realize that the person you've been waiting for to save you has always been you. You don't have to chase love or approval anymore. You don't have to keep proving your worth through productivity or pain. You just have to come home to yourself, to your heart, to your truth, to your peace. This is what remembering feels like when your soul recognizes itself again after years of pretending. It's that soft ache in your chest that feels like sadness but is really relief, relief that you're finally listening again. When the noise fades and the truth whispers, you are still her. You were never lost, only hidden. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. Because the woman you're becoming deserves the gentleness you once gave to everyone else. She deserves rest, forgiveness, laughter that comes from her belly, mornings that don't feel like war. She deserves to say no without guilt, to love without fear, to start over without apology. She deserves to be seen, not for what she does, but for who she is when she's not performing. You deserve that too. You deserve peace that doesn't require permission. You deserve to stop surviving and start living. You deserve to stop shrinking yourself just to make others comfortable. You deserve to be the kind of woman who no longer needs to prove anything, because she already is everything. So before you forget yourself in the noise of the world, before you lose your light to someone else's shadow, before you give away the last pieces of yourself to people who never learned how to hold them, remember this: you are enough. You always have been. You always will be. You are worthy, not because of your titles, not because of your beauty, not because of what you've achieved, but simply because you exist. You are allowed to begin again. As many times as it takes. You are allowed to walk away from what doesn't grow you. You are allowed to choose peace over pressure, silence over noise, you over them. You are allowed to rebuild your life as many times as you need, softer, slower, truer this time. Remember this before you forget yourself. Your softness is not weakness. Your sensitivity is not shameful. Your rest is not laziness. Your emotions are not too much. You are a whole universe wrapped in skin. You are made of storms and sunlight. You are the girl who survived everything meant to destroy her and still knows how to love. You are the woman who has carried the weight of worlds and still wakes up each day to try again. That is strength. That is beauty. That is grace. So don't let this world convince you that you're behind, that you're not enough, that your worth depends on how much you can endure. You don't have to earn the right to be yourself. You just have to remember her, the girl who laughed without fear, the woman who still lives inside you, waiting for the day you choose her again. Breathe, look up. The sky is still there. The sun still rises, and your story, it's far from over. You are still becoming, still unfolding, still healing. And that's enough. You've been everything for everyone else. Now it's time to be something for you. Remember this before you forget yourself.